Welcome, welcome everyone. We are happy to have you here for this webinar with Nexford University and Colad Gray. We will get started shortly. If you want to let us know in the chat while we wait for the room to fill up, something that you're looking forward to, or something you're excited about, I think that can help us get to know one another. We'll get started soon and look forward to this great session together. Really excited. My name is Jennifer Bangoura and I'm with Nexford University and I'm our Director of Career Innovation, but we'll get into the content of our presentation shortly, just as we give people some time to join. So if you want to let us know in the chat, something you're excited about or looking forward to, maybe this weekend. And if you're able to let us know, I'm wondering, are you able to chat to everybody? I actually can just only chat to the hosts and panelists. So let's see what we're able to do here. But we'll get started momentarily. I think the room is starting to be full. So welcome, Kioma, Cynthia, Benga, Kahinde, Peace, Rachel, Rejoice, Victor, everyone else who's joining as well. Happy to have you here. We're going to be talking about tips and strategies for navigating your career journey. We've got some, okay, thank you. Okay, wonderful. You should be able now to, we have our magician of a colleague, Roshan, who made the magic happen. So you should be able to let us know in the chat now something that you're looking forward to. I always like that because it's just fun to see. I'm traveling this weekend to see family, and I'm really looking forward to that. So would love to know if there's something you're looking forward to or that you're celebrating. Maybe your birthday is coming up. But I think, yeah, let's see. Good to see you here, Rachel. Thank you for being here. All right, I think the room has filled up. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see though. Victor, hi. Thank you for being here. So welcome to Navigating Your Career Journey with Nexford University. And I'm glad, Chibuike, you'll have a restful weekend. That is definitely something to look forward to. So we'll just give a moment okay, there we go. So here is an agenda to guide our call today. Let me just make sure I can see you all and see what we're looking at here. So we're going to I'll do some brief introductions, who I am, why I'm here with you today. We'll talk about understanding your industry and how to navigate that, what it means to build a strong personal brand, some different networking strategies. I'll give a brief Nexford University overview, and then we'll have time for a Q&A. So throughout the conversation today, and I really do want this to be interactive. I know it's sometimes easy when we're off camera, we're doing lots of other different things. Maybe you're on your phone, maybe you've got your headphones on, and that's great. I understand the need to multitask, but I have my notebook here, so I'll be taking notes from things that come up. And I'd love for us to use the chat as a way to have this be as interactive as possible. And then if you have questions that come up throughout, please use the Q&A at the bottom you'll see the Zoom screen. So that way I can keep questions in one place that we can cover at the end. You will receive a copy of this recording. We'll share a link to it. I'll send also, we will send, my colleague Roshan will send a copy of the presentation and any of the links that we reference. It'll either be linked within the PowerPoint, or we will share it as a separate link, or maybe both. So please, I really do want this to be as interactive as possible. So keep an eye on your chat and be ready to engage there. And yeah, really excited to be here with you. So my name is Jennifer Bangoura, and I am Nexford University's Director of Career Innovation. And so what that means is I am here to make sure our learners and alumni have the tools and skills they need to advance in their careers, whether that means they're pivoting or promoting. So we have a lot of learners, and maybe you're potentially one of them, but we have a lot of learners and alumni who already have jobs. And so they maybe are looking to promote within their current company. We have other people who are doing their MBA or taking a certificate because they want to pivot and move maybe out of their company or out of their industry. I've spent my career actually working in career development and higher education, online learning, distance learning. So I'm originally from the United States, and I currently live in Malawi in Southern Africa. And I've worked around the world with from primary school teachers using radio to do teacher training and improve literacy for school-age children, to now career development, career coaching for graduate students, both in the United States and then around the world. So I get very excited thinking about how we can take what we learn in the classroom, or how different credentials and education can support our career growth. Because while I don't believe in being consumed by our careers, I also recognize that they are a very meaningful part of our lives. Many of us, need salaries to live and survive and thrive, and having a meaningful and career that you can actually look forward to and job that you like helps us, can help us have a better life. So that's what I get very excited about. When I was thinking about this presentation today, really what it means to navigate your career journey, I found this quote that says, it takes longer to get somewhere if you don't know how to get there, right? You think about, the last place that you went to for the first time. Maybe you used a GPS to get there on your phone. Maybe you got in a taxi and the taxi driver knew where to go. You said the location and then they drove there. Maybe you called a friend and you were going to their house and they told you the directions verbally, right? There are lots of different ways that we can get to a place. And I really like this analogy when we think about our careers. Sometimes we get carried away with social media, and if there's somebody who loves LinkedIn the most, I don't know if it's me, but I'd be like close to one of the, someone who loves the most. Oh, and can you see my screen? I'm so sorry. Are you able to? Hopefully, could you put in the chat if you're I just want to make sure, because it showed me now you're able, but is everyone able to see my screen? Wonderful. Okay, great. Thank you, Abiodun, and Opayemi. So, sometimes we can get carried away a little bit seeing other people's careers, or you hear about your friend with the glamorous job. You see their LinkedIn profile and it looks like they have navigated their career journey in a very linear fashion, right? They did step 1, step 2, step 3, and that's how they got there. In reality, when you talk to most people, people don't know, they can't predict the future. I would say most people cannot predict the future. But when you look back on a career, or you look back on your job history, that makes sense, right? That one career, one opportunity led to another, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted you to keep this in mind, that when you are thinking about navigating your career journey, you don't have to have one only final destination of the one job or one, career that you want to have. And it's helpful to have certain parameters around it so that you can take on certain experiences or education to get you there. Because otherwise things do get pretty aimless and you can get frustrated. And it's better to try and avoid those feelings. So yes, I just want you to keep this in mind, that that's what we're going to be talking about today when we're navigating your career journey, is knowing how to get there, right? Even if all of our destinations are different. And thank you to everyone who's confirming you can see my screen. I really appreciate that. So when you're thinking about understanding your industry, and if you want to let me know in the chat, I'd love to know what industry are you in? So, and if you're wondering what I mean by industry, you think about the different departments in a company. So maybe you are all in human resources, and that's great if that's the case. Maybe some of you are product designers, maybe you work in marketing. So this is what I mean by industry, is like if you could be in a different department in a company, what department are you currently in, or what do you want to be in? So I have the chat open here. So I'd love to know, just to have an idea and confirm that either everybody is in HR, accounting. Okay, great. We have accounting here. I'm making a note. We have HR. That's great. Sales. Okay, wonderful. So we have lots of different ones, and that's great. Because what I'm going to share with you, product, will be applicable. And I just want you to know that, this is your journey. And when I work with people as a career coach, I always want to turn to you as either a job seeker or as a professional who was just wanting to grow in their career. I consider you the expert of your career, right? I can't tell you what is most important to you about your career or your work or your life. And I can listen to your story or see your story. And thank you for sharing these examples in the chat, because that's helpful as I'm, talking here. So when you want to understand your industry, there are a lot of places you can turn. So first, think about your current colleagues, right? So from the chat, I saw we have people in accounting, in HR, sales, we have executive assistants, people who are working in product and customer service. So first, look around at whatever department you're working in. That can be at your current company, or maybe someone working in another company who works in the same function or the same department. Those people are going to be a really good source of information about your industry, and that then helps you navigate your career journey. How does it help you do that? Well, people, none of us hold all of the information ourselves, right? We all can learn from other people. And it's interesting and exciting when you connect with other people who have new insights, new information. And whether you are looking for a new job or not, or you just, again, pivoting or promoting, right? So pivoting outside of a company, promoting within, it's really helpful to have an understanding of your industry so that you can become an expert in what it is that you do. Now, a lot of us get, we have our day-to-day work that we are doing, and we can get consumed with it. And we think, do we have the time to really learn more? There's always a little bit of time to build our knowledge and also our networks. And that's why I like focusing on colleagues. And I liked having these 3 C's here of colleagues, conferences, credentials. So I really encourage you, when you're thinking about navigating your career journey, to turn to people that you are around you, and you'll be surprised how often or how rare it is, how often people don't do this. So maybe, the next time, if you're in person at your office, reaching out to somebody who's a level or above of you, to have a tea or a coffee or have lunch together, and really understand, how did they get where they are? Do they have a job that you're interested in pursuing? What is some advice that they would give you? These are called informational interviews. And they can really just give more information again about the industry. What type of trends are you seeing? What skills do you think people need to be really successful in this career? And that can really be helpful. Next is conferences. Now, I think it would be great if all of us could go. Well, maybe you're an introvert and you don't want to. I'm an extrovert, so I love being around people. I think conferences sound great to go to. They sound like a lot of fun. But in reality, they're expensive. They can be hard to get to. Maybe they're not where you are. And so if you can go in person to conferences, that's great. If you can attend conferences online for free or for a small fee, that's also helpful. But even when you can't attend a conference, I see conferences show up on my LinkedIn feed all the time. I love clicking on the landing page and just looking through the speaker list, looking through the company sponsor pages, because when you see one that aligns with your industry, right? This is what I mean when I say conferences that are in your industry. you start to learn from the people who are attending those. So you can start following the people on LinkedIn who are attending, who are speaking at conferences. And again, the intention here is that it serves to inform, your expertise, right, as a professional in whatever industry it is that you're in. And finally, credentials. So there's a lot of debate, of course, I work for a university, so I do believe in the value of credentials. But here, again, you all are coming from a real diversity of departments and industries and fields. And there are certain credentials, degrees or certificates that are going to be valuable for what you're doing. And these are ways to show to yourself through your own, by your own learning, and then to the outside world that you have what it takes to succeed in a specific industry. And of course, as you're pursuing a credential, you grow in your knowledge and deepen your understanding of whatever industry it is that you're in. So what's very important to me is when you're wanting to understand this industry, I just asked you to think about a lot of different things about your colleagues, about conferences, about credentials. It's really helpful to start to corral this information in one place. So at Nexford, we are launching a career course within our offerings. And one of the areas that we cover in that career course is this job search planner. And so what I always encourage job seekers, and also really just anyone, because I consider anyone who wants to pursue employment, whether you are actively looking for a new job or you're happy in your current role, we are all job seekers, right? We all could potentially, people change jobs all the time for whatever reason, whether by our own decision or by the company's decision, if we get let go or lots of things can happen, as I know we all know. So it's really helpful to revisit, and I recommend doing it on an annual basis and twice a year if people are, in more active. But to really think about what are the different roles and functions that I would want to do? What are the industries that I'm interested in doing those jobs in? Because I could be an accountant. I could be an accountant at a financial services company. I could be an accountant at a university. I could be an accountant, for a climate change. So all of the roles that you all shared are ones that could be done in different industries. And so what can be a fun exercise is to think about, well, where do I feel drawn by my interests? And having a job search planner, like a spreadsheet like this, can be helpful just to put it on digital paper of what those specific roles are that you want and what the industries are where you would like to do them. Again, you all listed these different functions and industries that you're in. But if I work in sales, maybe I'm currently a sales executive, and maybe I want to be a vice president, or maybe, think about what are some of the titles or roles that you see, because that's going to help inform your research into different career paths. Okay. And then next you have, I've had listed here companies and people, because there are different ways to approach your navigating your career journey. So some people, say, I want to work for Microsoft. That's my goal. I will do anything to work at Microsoft, right? Maybe I want, and then they'll start looking at, okay, well, what are the different opportunities and roles? Other people maybe they'll focus on the role and function first, right? Like, I want to be a business development analyst. And it really doesn't matter. I'm not as concerned where I want to do it. It's just that I really want to do this role. Neither is better or worse. It's just different, and that's okay. I always tell my kids, different is different and different is okay. And it can just be helpful to help center your career journey by looking at companies. Even if you're happy at your current company, which I hope you are, it's helpful to put in different companies that you're interested in, because then you can do a little bit of reverse engineering and identify people at those companies who are going to help inform your own expertise and insights in your current role. And that will make you a better employee at your existing company, right? So then I have people listed here because you want to list specific people who you admire whether they are, specifically in your industry or your job function. And that helps you just have a collected list of like, these are people I look up to. Maybe you want to reach out to them directly, or maybe you just want to keep a list of people who to make sure you check up on what they're posting or sharing online. And I just want to check. Okay, good. We have someone else. I'm keeping an eye on our Q&A and chat, so please do, if you have questions, add them to the Q&A as they come up, and I'll absolutely be sure to check on, cover them at the end. And same in the chat, if you have a question or something you want me to make sure I'm clarifying, I'm happy to do that. I want to do also, just to make sure, are you able to hear me okay? And I think you can still see my screen, at least it shows that I'm screen sharing, but are you able to, is the audio okay? Okay, great. Thank you, Opuyemi. Loud and clear. I love it. That's awesome. The Malawi internet gods are blessing us today, which is wonderful. So I have one little thing here at the bottom. Thank you so much. Yeah. So here again, we're still on understanding our industry. I listed some different places. I have one edit here at the bottom. I'll add a different link. But there are a lot of different places where you can, because I'm telling you now, go find people. And you're like, yes, but how do I find people in my industry? How do I find these conferences? Google, I will say, is your best friend, or can be, or ChatGPT, depending on who you like to turn to. So when I put communities here in quotes, there for all of the, again, industries that you listed here, accounting, HR, sales, executive assistants, product, customer service, there is an online community that exists that you can turn to today, and we can find one together, that can help you grow in your career. Nexford can be one of those as well. We have our own community of learners and alumni. But there are ones that, are specifically geared toward helping you, again, grow in all the areas that I've listed, and your understanding of an industry and the understanding of your role. So you can actually search community for product designers, community for executive assistants. You might want to find ones that are focused where you live, but also you can find ones that are based anywhere in the world and learn from people in different countries. I think that's the beauty of a lot of these online communities, is that you can learn lessons from how people are doing things somewhere else, and then, decide what's relevant for you or what might not fit. Of course, you have those in-person conferences. What I would recommend is maybe you have a spreadsheet, or maybe you have a physical notebook where when you see somebody mention in a blog post in person a really interesting conference, write it down. And again, maybe you can attend in person, or maybe you just want to make a note to check on the website and learn from what you're seeing posted, even if you can't attend. We have virtual summits, and then I use a tool called Feedly. So if you want to look up, I think it's, I'll put it in here, but feedly.co. I put that in the chat. I love Feedly because it's a place where I can collect the different blogs that I follow in one place, and I have it customized for my interests and the types of things that I care about, because I want to keep learning and growing. And so that's how I do that. And if you'll just give me one moment, I have a little pup here who needs to get outside, and I need to figure that out. 1 second. Thank you for your patience. Okay. So yeah, I love Feedly for those purposes. Next, when you're thinking about companies that you want to look at, use these great lists, like the top 25 best places to grow your career in Nigeria, or if you're in a different country. LinkedIn produces these on an annual basis. I love these lists, and I have the link in this PowerPoint, so you'll get that when we follow up. What I like to do, and I'll show you how I do it, is click on the company page on LinkedIn, And then you'll see I love using LinkedIn as a research tool because it's uniform. So you can go out there and you can search a company online, look at their website and so on. But when you're doing research on companies and people, LinkedIn is just so helpful because everyone has the same format for their LinkedIn profile and the company page. And so I can compare apples to apples in a sense. So on the LinkedIn company page, you see a home, about, maybe life, and then people. When you click on people, you can see all the people who work at a different company and start to look at different profiles, find people who work in the department that you're interested in to, again, grow your insights or to build your network. Just very helpful tool here. So we've talked about what it means to understand your industry. We're now going to move into what does it mean to have a personal brand and building your personal brand. So I'd love to ask, and here in the chat, see in the chat, what does it mean to you to have a personal brand, and or who do you know who has a good one? So this could be a celebrity, it could be someone in your faith community, it could be someone at your company, it could be, it doesn't have to be a celebrity, but it could be just someone in your industry who really has a good personal brand. So I'd love to know in the chat, what does it mean to have a personal brand, and who do you know who has a good one? And I like to make notes here because I always learn new names. So while you all are adding people for who has personal brand, for me, a personal brand is really what people think of when they think of you. Now, let's see, who's going to be the first to respond with an example so I can use a good one that's that someone shares. So let's see, who is it? So Kioma says personal branding is what I promote based on my interests and areas of specialization. I love that. That's a great definition. Do you know someone else, someone who has a great personal brand? I think that's a great definition. Because it's something you can cultivate. We don't just emerge in the world with a personal brand unless you're a Kardashian and your parents did it for you, right? Having an identity. Oh, cool. That's great. So that's a great product. So Mr. Kolade, who's the head of product. So Lara Yeku, Omolara Yeku. This is great. I love writing down. Oh, that's the same person, I guess. So that's interesting that you both mentioned the same person. I assume you weren't connecting with each other. House of Tara. So this is great. So people can intentionally cultivate a personal brand. And even when we're not a celebrity or the head of HR or at the top of an organization, that's okay. I really think by being intentional at any stage of our career about cultivating a personal brand, it's going to help you in the immediate term, and it will really help you in the long term, because over time, people will start to associate a certain industry or expertise, or like Kioma said, specialization with you. And while, we wish that maybe it can happen by just doing good work, right? You can just do your job and hope that somebody's going to notice it and that be enough. And that might happen. Okay. That happens for some people, that all that they do, they keep their head down, do their good work. The good hair. Okay. And there are some small steps you can take to make sure that I'm not trying to turn anybody here into a social media influencer, but there are some steps that you can take to own your personal brand and make sure that people actually know what it is that interests you, what you care about. You can give subtle nods to that information or overt, be explicit about it. So we'll talk about that now, because again, this is having a personal brand is what's going to help establish you in your career and help you navigate your pivots and promotions over time. So what does it mean to build a strong personal brand? So I have linked here a blog post that we have about it, and we have 10 things here just to keep in mind. I won't go into detail about all of them. I want to respect our time and make sure we have enough time for Q&A if you all have any questions. But really, these are some of the core areas that are important to think about when you're building your personal brand. And Kioma wrote that, what it is when I'm interested in, what I specialize in. And I want to stick with that because I do think, and I do get this question of like, well, what if my interests change? We all change, and that's a good thing. And so that's okay too. And when you are in the habit of building your personal brand, it's going to happen over time naturally that some things are going to shift, and that's okay. Because at least you'll be in the habit of talking about what interests you, and it's okay to have different interests, right? So when you have a strong personal brand, and I'm going to show you an example after the next slide of what I think a strong personal brand looks like when it manifests, and I will use LinkedIn as an example. We are here talking about navigating your career journey. So I do strongly recommend that if you are navigating your career journey, which I assume you are since you're here, have a LinkedIn profile can be the #1 place to do that. And so having a focus is thinking, we all have different interests, and usually within our careers, there are 3 to 5 things that are at the foundation of it. So I did a little searching before our webinar and looked, at the Colad Gray LinkedIn page. And I love a strong headline on LinkedIn, because you see when people have, those 3 to 5 words that talk about what they do or are interested or care about. You all gave a great example, again, when we were starting this webinar. You told me that you are in accounting, you're an executive assistant, you're in sales, you're in HR. So that can be like your foundation of the thing, your focus, right? Now within each of those areas, you might have other interests, right? And so I can't tell you what your focus or interests are, but just think about what are the 3 to 5 words that you want people to associate with you and that you're interested in. We're not going to come to that conclusion in this webinar, but it's something that you can brainstorm and also just give some more thought to. You want to be genuine when you're building your personal brand. You all mentioned Lara Yeku, someone who I don't know, but I'm going to look up after. I'm sure that this is somebody who over time has a genuine story that they're sharing with people, and people relate to her or to them because of that they're being a genuine person, right? And they're being real. A lot of us have like radars on when people are being fake, and you can pick up on that pretty quickly. People love stories. So we relate to stories and people relate to people. So when you think about your own career, and I don't know most of you in this room, and I know you all have a story, right? And I know all of you have something that someone else can learn from. So, and I like using this framing of, hopefully we all have our own ambitions. We're all striving toward different things. And remember where you are today was where you wanted to be maybe 3 or 5 years ago, right? And I know we all have somewhere we want to be in another 3 to 5 years. And somebody else is looking at you right now and thinking, oh, I wish I could be where Kioma is, or, I wish I could be where Amarachi is right now, or Cynthia or Emmanuel, right? So think about when you're telling your story, someone's going to learn from that, and they're going to find different ways that they can build their career and shape their path to achieve what you've achieved. Consistency is helpful. So again, when you are thinking about building your personal brand, it's helpful when you can be the same person in real life as you are online. So when you're telling stories or you're sharing information with colleagues in person or with your network or your friends or family, that's the same how you show up, in all places is helpful. Be ready to fail. Perfection is impossible, right? We all are striving toward perfection, but it's okay to make mistakes. And I think that's something that we learn from. It helps. I think we learn a lot more from our mistakes than we do from our successes. So be ready to make mistakes, and that's okay. Think about when you're building that personal brand, how can I create a positive impact? How can I help others who are around me? Because this is another philosophy, I suppose, or mentality I love having. There's a man named Adam Grant, who's an industrial psychologist. So he works with companies on how they, think about their people. And he has this book called Give and Take. So as we're navigating our career journeys, a lot of times you might think, oh, I'm asking for advice, I'm asking for this, I'm asking for that. At the same time, I know that you have it within you to be a giver. And what that means is oftentimes that might be in the form of, if you have a job now, do you see job openings where you work, or are you seeing job openings that might be relevant for someone in your in your network? Share that with others. And that is creating a positive impact. And then people start to associate that with you. So I'm reading this book called The Happiness Project, and I don't have the exact word for it, but what she talks about in this book, this woman, she when the way we talk about other people is how people start to associate that identity with us. So when you say negative things about other people, people start to associate you being a negative person. If maybe you think I'm positive, when you say positive things about other people, right, or you try to create that positive impact in the world, people start to associate that with you and your personal brand and who you are. So follow a successful example. This is where I'm asking you to really, keep brainstorming about people who have a strong personal brand, because maybe you want to emulate or mimic the types of things that they're doing yourself. Live out your brand. This is, being authentic in all places. And so then you don't have a problem when somebody meets you in real life and you're nothing like what you put out there online. I love letting others tell your story. I like this too, thinking about my colleagues here on the call, Victory, who I'm connected with recently when she joined Nexford, and you hear other people telling your story, and hopefully it's a good one, right? So there's nothing better like with Victory, when you start to hear from other people saying, wow, you're lucky to be working with her because she's amazing. And you're like, don't you want more people to say that about you? I do. But you have to put in the actions and do the work for other people to tell your story. And then leaving a legacy and thinking about, what do I want other people to remember about me? So all of these things can help you develop and build that strong personal brand. Here, I'm going to pick on, in a nice way, another one of my colleagues, Lydia, who I think has a really beautiful representation of her personal brand. And this is what I mean when I say having a personal brand on your digital presence. And this is not having to post all the time or become, again, like a social media influencer. You have a nice photo, you've updated your cover photo on LinkedIn. You can tell she's promoting Nexford, which we love, of course. And then you look at her headline, and it has that focus that I was talking about, those 3 to 5 words that she wants associated with her: strategic partnerships, client success, channel management, workforce development, and youth employability. Those might not be the words that you want, and that's okay. But think about, what are the words and what are the things that you want people to associate with you? This is super simple, but it takes time and it takes effort to get to simplicity is hard. But this is what I mean when I'm saying having a personal brand. If your company doesn't have, a banner to put up top, that's okay. You can use Canva or find, Google free banner images to put on your LinkedIn profile. It's just something that adds an element of, makes your profile look a little sharper. If you're wondering, and I get this a lot, how can I make my LinkedIn profile better? There's this fabulous tool called Teal, and they have a LinkedIn profile review tool. Let's see if I can Can't copy the link from here, but that's okay. I have the link in the deck, so you can click on it when we send this as a follow-up. And you can see here on the right-hand side, when you go to your profile, it gives you a section by section review using AI of what areas that you could improve on your profile. It's better than a human doing it. Honestly, I've done hundreds, if not thousands, probably just let's say hundreds, but close to thousands LinkedIn profile reviews. This is all the same advice that I would give somebody is what they have in this great tool. So we've talked about understanding your industry, building a strong personal brand. We're going to now talk about some networking strategies because relationships really are at the core and the foundation of anyone's success in navigating their career journey. I think you will rarely, if ever, hear somebody who's at the top of their career say, I got here by myself, I got here alone, nobody helped me. We all depend on our network, and we all depend on relationships to help us navigate our career journey. And it takes a lot of intentional effort to do so successfully and to build a strong and valuable network, right? So here are 3 areas that I recommend when you're thinking about building your network and some different networking strategies. So the first is to start with your inner circle. So start with people you know, your friends, family members, colleagues, acquaintances. So these people, those are your first degree connections, what we would say in LinkedIn terminology, but they're going to be able to introduce you to people they know. So as you and this is where you start to understand what it is I'm interested in, how I want to grow. The more you can let other people know, and hopefully, of course, you have people that create a safe space for you to do that. I recognize that not every person is going to be, oh yeah, maybe not everyone has a manager that, yes, I can tell you honest about my true career aspirations. But find people who are safe people to go to and say, this is what I'm really dreaming about, or could you help brainstorm with me? Who are some people you think I should talk with if I want to really become a great product manager or become a really wonderful accountant? And then, maybe they're not the person, but maybe they know somebody else that they can connect you with. Next is embracing opportunities. So this is something that aligns with a career theory that I really love called happenstance learning theory. And what this means is that as much as we want to control things in our life, it can be difficult. You can't ultimately. You can control some things, right? So we need to embrace the opportunities that come around us, and we cannot know where everything is going to lead us. So, for example, this morning, a friend of mine was speaking at a cafe nearby, the International Association of Women in Malawi. And I said, I want to go because I want to go support my friend who is speaking, and it'll be nice to meet some new people. So I took a coffee break and went to this cafe. And think about opportunities like that in your life. You don't know. Are you going to meet someone there who's going to give you a job? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe you'll make a new friend, and that's, success enough. But these opportunities, when you volunteer in your community, when you build relationships, when your friend invites you to that party or that gathering or that happy hour, I want to stay home and snuggle on the couch as much as the rest of us. And we need to do that and take care of ourselves as much as possible. And if you feel inclined to say no way more than you say yes, think about, okay, is there some time that I can say yes and embrace this opportunity? Because you never know who you're going to encounter or meet with. If you can't physically go somewhere, or you really do need to be home more, think about embracing virtual opportunities, webinars. You're here, so I know that you're, embracing this opportunity. But yeah, it just really can open up different experiences and perspectives for you. And then finally, when you're networking, please do your research. Again, there is so much information out there. So take the time when you're learning about a new company, when you're meeting a new person in a professional space, to do that research, look at their LinkedIn page, look if it's the company or the person, right? Look at their blog posts for companies, look at the different social media feeds. There has never been more information about people and companies than there is out there today. And the more research you do, the more information that you can gather beforehand, the more you're showing to someone that you care and that you are capable of doing the work. And then that'll help you prepare more thoughtful questions and have a better, ultimately, networking conversation or engagement. So I hope that what we've covered today, I know our time has gone quickly, thinking about understanding your industry, building a personal brand, and now cultivating some networking strategies has been helpful. I'm going to briefly talk about Nexford University and who we are. So we are an American accredited and licensed university based in Washington, D.C., and with learners in over 100 countries around the world. And our mission is to build socioeconomic mobility by providing learners access to high quality education online that's also affordable. So we are 100% online. We are accredited and licensed in the United States. We start on the 1st of every month. And we know that one of the biggest barriers to access to higher education is cost. So we do our best to make our monthly fees affordable and also allow people to pay on a monthly basis rather than paying for a whole term upfront. So we are really excited about our partnership with Collad Gray. So I see the question in the Q&A around scholarships. So we are able, through this great partnership, to offer 15% off on tuition fees. You'll be joining the Nexford community, which is, we think it's a pretty good one. And hopefully, this would contribute to your growth, both personally and professionally. We have a link here, and we'll also, we'll share it. If we can share it in the chat, that's great. And we'll share it in the follow-up as well to this landing page that we would ask you to use this landing page specifically so that you can have that 15% discount applied to any tuition. But it's a real honor, and we value these partnerships because we want to make sure that everyone feels supported and part of the Nexford community, which you have now joined by even being part of this webinar. So thank you so much, Victory, for putting that. Victory's put the link in the chat there, and again, we'll share that in the follow-up as well. So something that we like to practice and that we understand to be a good, approach to pedagogy at Nexford is metacognition. So this is thinking about, what did I just learn and how am I going to apply it in the future? So I want to give you a moment to think about what's next. Again, we've just talked about strategies related to broadly navigating your career journey, but understanding your industry, building a personal brand, and then networking strategies. So what are some things that you're going to do after this webinar? 2 to 3 things. And if you want to write it down, again, maybe you have a notebook. I would love to know what they are. If someone is feeling brave and wants to share in the chat, then I would love to see that. So if somebody could share in the chat, maybe one, if you just want to share one thing you're going to do after this webinar, and we can all learn from you as well. It's been such a treat to be here with you today. I think in the Q&A, I've answered that question. If you have questions and want to also put them in the Q&A, I'm happy to receive those questions. But I'll put back up so you can see this, what are the 2 to 3 things that you're planning on doing after this webinar? I'm going to look up Lara Yeku so I can learn from her. Tolu Wanimi is going to work on building a legacy. Yeah. I love that. So Chibuike is thinking about the 3 to 4 words that you want to be known for. I think that's great. And you know what? Those words might shift over time. Kioma is going to look at their LinkedIn profile using teal. That's wonderful. And again, I'm coming from the perspective of Nexford, where we really, of course, deeply value the role of education in helping you navigate all these different areas that we've talked about. So we really hope that you will look at some of the different offerings that we have and check out the website. We have a stackable credential model, so there's really something for everybody. We have courses, certificates, undergraduate programs, and MBAs. So you can check out on our programs page on the Nexford website, and Victory shared that link so you can navigate right to it and see, are there different pathways of study that are going to help you achieve whatever it is that your career goal is. Chibuike is going to check out The Happiness Project. That's a good one. It really is a great book. So we hope that you'll, as you're building your personal brand, think about, excuse me. Yeah, we're just really happy that you were able to make the time here with Nexford University as you're considering, your own growth in your career and pathway. Okay. Wow, you all did a great summary. This is so helpful. And I think that even listing it out, this metacognition, when you write things down, they stick with you. We are, as you can see here on the screen, building, education that moves you and helps you advance in your career and navigate that journey ahead of you. My name is Jennifer Bangoura, and I am Nexford University's Director of Career Innovation. We are thrilled to be partnering with Collad Gray and excited to see many of you, formally join our Nexford community and continue to grow in your education and your careers. I want to say thank you to everyone who has made the time to join, that you've embraced this opportunity. And we will look forward to being in touch. If you have any questions, we'll look forward to hearing from you. I'm so glad to hear. Thank you for this feedback, that it's been really helpful. Cynthia, Toluwanimi, Kioma, really appreciate you making the time and investing. Yeah, time. We all have the same amount of time. So we'll look forward to being in touch and connecting with you soon. So take care and have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much.